Elena's consciousness snapped awake, punctured by a sharp, relentless ache throbbing through her temples. She opened her eyes, greeted by shadows pooling across cold metallic walls illuminated by a pale blue glow. Her wrists felt raw, restrained by heavy steel cuffs, their surfaces reflecting the faint light and muted glimmers. "Where the hell am I?" she whispered, more to herself than anyone else. Memories trickled back slowly, a patrol mission along the Omega Belt, the ambush by cloaked ships, and then the sickening realization as alien stun weapons overwhelmed her squadron. Anger simmered beneath the calm exterior she'd perfected over years of war. As she struggled upright, chains scraping against metal, the sterile smell of recycled air and antiseptic flooded her senses. Her cell was small and bare, void of anything familiar or comforting. Footsteps echoed down the corridor, steady and measured. Elena forced herself to remain calm, waiting to confront whoever held her captive. An alien figure emerged through shimmering force bars. It towered nearly 8 feet, its violet skin rippling with scales beneath an armored uniform. Eyes resembling molten gold appraised Elena coldly. Another human, it growled disdainfully, this one frilier than the rest. Elena locked eyes defiantly with the towering alien, her voice unshaken. "Frail isn't a word I'd choose." The alien chuckled darkly. "You humans are always so confident until reality sets in. I'm Commander Threx, overseer of new arrivals. Obedience means survival." "I'll keep that in mind," Elena replied coolly, meeting Threx's disdain with unwavering resolve. "But I want answers. Why am I here?" Threx sneered, leaning closer. "Humans ask too many questions. You'll learn soon enough." He turned abruptly, waving for guards to enter. 2 armored aliens grasped Elena roughly, dragging her from the cell and into a broad, brightly lit corridor lined with transparent cells. She glimpsed prisoners of varying species, some curled silently in defeat, others pacing like trapped animals. They reached a sprawling common area, bleakly illuminated by overhead lamps. Alien prisoners loitered in guarded clusters, conversations hushed, eyes furtively scanning newcomers. Elena was thrown forward onto the harsh floor. Her cuffs disengaged, clattering loudly against the polished surface. "Introduce yourself," Threx mocked. "Make friends, or enemies. Your choice." As Threx retreated, the prisoners slowly circled Elena, their faces unreadable mixtures of suspicion and curiosity. She stood slowly, dusting her uniform and meeting their stares evenly. "Another human?" rasped a deep voice from behind. Elena turned swiftly. A reptilian inmate, muscular and battle-scarred, towered over her, scaly lips curled in contempt. "Seems they're filling this place with easy targets." Elena sized him up instantly, noting old injuries, weak points. "Careful who you call easy," she said calmly. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. The reptilian smirked, stepping closer, flexing powerful arms. "You speak bravely for a species that can barely survive without help." "We do just fine," Elena answered steadily, positioning herself subtly in a defensive stance. "Then prove it," the creature snarled, launching himself forward without warning. Elena pivoted gracefully, letting his weight carry him past. Furious, he swung a clawed fist, narrowly missing as she ducked swiftly, driving her elbow into his exposed ribs. The giant staggered, gasping in pain, astonishment flickering across his eyes. Elena seized the brief hesitation, spinning and knocking him off balance with precise, trained efficiency. He collapsed heavily to the ground, stunned silence enveloping the hall. She stepped back, extending a firm hand toward the defeated warrior. "Fight's over. No reason to continue this." The reptilian stared incredulously before accepting her hand, standing warily. His hostility faded to reluctant respect. "Name's Gorath," he muttered quietly. "I underestimated you." "Elena Pierce," she replied. "I prefer making allies over enemies." Across the hall, prisoners exchanged intrigued glances, quietly reassessing her presence. An older alien prisoner approached cautiously, his thin frame masking intelligence in his calculating eyes. "Impressive, human," he said softly. But strength alone won't save you here. Kazrak, the warden, likes breaking fighters. I've faced worse, Elena answered confidently, hiding internal doubts beneath her practiced soldier's exterior. Perhaps you have, he conceded, studying her closely. My name is Varric. I've been here long enough to know things you don't. Friends matter here. Elena sensed sincerity in his words. Why capture humans specifically? What's their interest in us? Varric lowered his voice further. Political pawns. Humans are considered expendable yet troublesome enough to manipulate alliances across systems. Kazrak profits from our misery. Elena's jaw tightened, anger brewing anew at the injustice she'd uncovered. Then we need a plan to change that. Careful, Elena, Varric warned softly. Many tried. All failed. They haven't seen humanity at its best, she retorted quietly, resolve blazing in her eyes. Yet. Varric considered this carefully, recognizing something rare in her gaze. Then perhaps our chances improved. A sudden chill swept through the crowd. Elena turned sharply, catching sight of a richly robed figure flanked by elite guards, Kazrak himself, his cold eyes piercing hers with unsettling intensity. So this is the human causing disruptions already, Kazrak's voice echoed ominously. Bold, yet foolish. I admire courage, Captain Pierce, but remember, even courage breaks under enough pressure. Elena matched his penetrating gaze, her voice steady. You'll find humanity tougher to break than you think. Kazrak smirked darkly. We'll see, Captain. He turned swiftly, robes fluttering ominously behind him. The prisoners stepped away, whispers and anxious glances following the warden's departure. Varric leaned close, worry in his voice. You attracted dangerous attention. Surviving just got harder. Elena stared defiantly into the corridor. Kazrak disappeared down. A faint smile tugged her lips. That's exactly what I'm counting on. In the tense silence that followed, a glimmer of hope sparked quietly within the prisoners watching her. Elena Pierce, wrongly captured and underestimated, had no intention of remaining a victim. She intended to lead, and to win. Elena sat quietly in the corner of the dimly lit prison cell, her mind analyzing every interaction she'd encountered since waking aboard the Zephyr 9 station. Around her, prisoners murmured anxiously, voices hushed as if Kazrak's spies lurked unseen. The seasoned inmate, Varric, settled himself across from Elena, his thoughtful gaze piercing through the shadows. Kazrak fears you, Elena. He sensed something different in you. He should, Elena said softly, eyes glinting with quiet intensity. Fear is a good motivator. A faint smile appeared on Varric's lined face, respect blossoming in his expression. Yet fear alone won't defeat him. You'll need allies. Not just any, but strong ones. Elena leaned forward, lowering her voice. I saw others today, humans broken, aliens defeated, all hopeless. They need a reason to fight again. Varric nodded gravely, voice lowered conspiratorially. Most have forgotten how. But your display against Gorath shook things loose. Even the proudest among us whispered your name tonight. From the darkness, a bulky form approached quietly. Elena tensed, instinctively readying herself, then relaxed as Gorath emerged, hands raised peacefully. The reptilian's fierce eyes were calmer, but the proud bearing remained. You're strong, human, Gorath acknowledged grudgingly. But strength means nothing unless the warden feels threatened. Then let's threaten him, Elena suggested decisively. If we unite the prisoners against the guards, small victories first, we'll rebuild courage and hope. Gorath narrowed his eyes skeptically. They crushed rebellions here before. Elena leaned closer, conviction blazing in her eyes. Because prisoners fought blindly. We'll use strategy, attack weak points, dismantle Kazrak's grip quietly. Gorath glanced toward Varric, who inclined his head subtly. Gorath's expression shifted, intrigued but hesitant. Explain your plan, human. Elena traced quick outlines on the cold floor with one finger. We sabotage their surveillance first, blind them temporarily. Then we strike precisely at guard shifts, disrupt their schedules, break confidence. With discipline, we won't need open conflict yet. Varric nodded thoughtfully. Small victories weaken Kazrak's reputation. Prisoners respect strength, and when confidence grows, hope follows. Exactly, Elena affirmed. If we outsmart them once, prisoners see Kazrak as vulnerable. Then we gather more support. Gorath's massive jaw twitched approvingly. I underestimated humans. Your tactics are sharper than brute force. She smiled slightly. Humans adapted to survive, we think differently because we had to. Quiet approval emanated from the two veterans. Their eyes told Elena she had earned trust, loyalty rooted not in mere strength, but tactical wisdom. Within hours, word of Elena's quiet rebellion spread discreetly through Zephyr 9, moving in whispers from prisoner to prisoner. Elena used this silent influence carefully. She visited weaker cells personally, listening empathetically, offering encouragement. Her presence lifted spirits gently but undeniably. By evening, an atmosphere of quiet tension filled the prison, unseen but felt. Elena sat with a small group, Varric, Gorath, and a young human woman named Rena, barely 19 but fearless in her defiance. Guards switch surveillance control each night at precisely 11, Rena whispered urgently. I overheard them, briefly vulnerable then. Elena nodded firmly. Tonight's the moment to strike. Remember, no unnecessary violence. Confuse them, sabotage equipment, and retreat. Kazrak must fear an invisible enemy first. The small group dispersed silently, prepared mentally and physically. Elena stayed focused, pacing slowly, counting down seconds. At 11 precisely, lights flickered suddenly through corridors, a silent cue that Varric had disabled primary surveillance. Prisoners moved swiftly, shadow-like, dismantling security panels, disrupting electrical connections. Chaos erupted rapidly, guards shouting confused orders into comms, scrambling ineffectively. Elena moved stealthily, heart pounding steadily in disciplined excitement. She confronted a lone guard attempting repairs. Before he could alert others, she swiftly disarmed him, knocking him unconscious and hiding him safely behind storage containers. Minutes later, silence returned eerily. Guards, bewildered and angry, regrouped uncertainly. Elena retreated unnoticed, breath controlled, heartbeat measured. As prisoners gathered quietly afterward, a powerful new atmosphere emerged. Something lost had returned, courage. Even timid inmates stood straighter, speaking in hushed yet energized voices. Kazrak's authority suffered its first subtle crack. Varric approached Elena solemnly. You restored their dignity. Such things matter deeply here. Elena smiled humbly. We did it together. Alone, none of us would succeed. Their conversation halted abruptly. A heavy tension seized the air. Kazrak himself appeared at the cell entrance, anger rippling visibly beneath his carefully controlled mask of authority. Captain Pierce, he began coldly, voice controlled yet lethal. This disruption reeks of human interference. Elena stepped forward, eyes steady and voice calm. Perhaps it reveals your own weakness, Kazrak. His eyes narrowed dangerously. Boldness in prisoners amuses me, briefly. But it always ends badly. Elena met his gaze defiantly. If you're frightened, say so. Kazrak's composure trembled slightly beneath rising fury. Be careful, my tolerance has limits. So does ours, she retorted evenly. Treat prisoners as disposable tools, and they'll remind you they're more than that. Kazrak inhaled sharply, visibly angered yet recognizing confrontation here risked further embarrassment. With a warning glare, he retreated hastily, prisoners silently observing the warden's rare moment of weakness. As his footsteps faded, Gorath whispered approvingly, he fears you openly now. No, Elena corrected softly, he fears what we've become, united. Varric nodded gravely. Unity is something Kazrak never understood. She glanced warmly toward the prisoners surrounding her, a diverse, resilient community whose eyes reflected newfound confidence. We'll teach him, Elena declared firmly. All we needed was belief. Now we have it. Quiet agreement rippled softly through the gathered prisoners, hope glimmering visibly where once despair dominated. Elena understood deeply that trust, unity, and discipline would overcome brutality and oppression. Later that night, as prisoners slept cautiously but with newfound peace, Elena stood watchful and vigilant. She knew Kazrak wouldn't surrender easily. The true battle for their freedom had just begun, but at last, they faced it together. The dimly lit chamber hummed with quiet intensity. Prisoners moved silently, weaving between shadows and hope, their faces hardened by determination. Elena stood calmly near the center, eyes sharp, senses alert. Tonight, everything would change. Varric approached her quietly, his voice edged with tension. Are you certain about this? Elena nodded firmly. Kazrak expects fear. Our strength will surprise him. Everything depends on timing. Gorath stepped closer, scales glistening softly beneath the pale lights. The prisoners are ready. I've trained them myself, discipline and control. Elena smiled appreciatively. Gorath had evolved, his hostility replaced by steady loyalty. I trust your judgment. Just remind them, no unnecessary casualties. A flicker of respect crossed his hardened features. Understood. Freedom, not revenge. The whispered words carried weight, reminding Elena how deeply the prisoners believed in her strategy. A lifetime of war had taught her strength meant nothing without unity. Across the room, Rena waved discreetly, her youthful eyes sharp with intelligence. Elena moved swiftly toward the younger woman, keeping footsteps quiet. Surveillance confirmed, Rena reported softly. Kazrak plans your execution publicly tomorrow, right at dawn. He thinks crushing you openly ends all resistance. Elena's heart beat quicker, nerves tested. But calm confidence steadied her instantly. Let him believe it. Arrogance will blind him. Rena smiled faintly, her trust visibly comforting. We believe in you, Elena. The sincerity touched Elena deeply, igniting her resolve. Then let's finish this. Tell everyone, rest briefly. Dawn brings liberation. Hours passed swiftly, the oppressive prison air pregnant with expectation. Elena quietly rehearsed each step of her plan, mentally calculating, refining strategy and pacing until execution became instinctive. Morning arrived harshly. Guards dragged Elena roughly from her cell, chains cutting into her wrists. Kazrak stood proudly in the central yard, flanked by heavily armored guards. Prisoners gathered under close watch, forced to witness punishment meant to break their spirit forever. Kazrak's voice boomed triumphantly, filled with mocking confidence. Behold humanity's bravest, soon silenced forever. Let this remind you all, rebellion leads nowhere but death. Elena straightened defiantly, eyes meeting his without fear. Your brutality can't silence truth, Kazrak. He sneered arrogantly. Truth matters little. Power decides reality. Chains released suddenly, leaving Elena standing exposed, vulnerable. Guards circled closer, weapons drawn menacingly. Kazrak nodded smugly. Execute her. Chaos erupted instantly, prisoners surging as one, disciplined and swift. Guards reacted clumsily, startled by coordinated rebellion. Elena moved instantly, dodging quickly between enemies, instinct sharp. Gorath's roar echoed powerfully, rallying prisoners forward. Alien and human alike surged courageously, their unity unprecedented, forcing confused guards back. Elena fought efficiently, fluidly evading strikes and neutralizing threats rapidly. Every movement precise, every decision instant. Suddenly Kazrak himself lunged toward her, desperation fueling reckless anger. Elena spun gracefully, avoiding his vicious claws, countering swiftly with precise blows to weak points. He staggered, snarling, but charged again blindly. You underestimated us, Elena spoke sharply, calm yet fierce. Your cruelty made us stronger, not weaker. Kazrak's fury blinded him further, strikes erratic, uncoordinated. Elena patiently exploited openings, tiring him steadily. Prisoners overwhelmed guards, momentum shifting irreversibly toward liberation. Kazrak's movements slowed, fatigue clear in every desperate breath. Elena halted her attack calmly, voice steady, controlled. It ends now. Surrender peacefully. Humiliated, defeated, he sank to his knees bitterly, eyes reflecting disbelief. How? Elena's voice resonated strongly. Because unity defeats oppression. Hope conquers cruelty. Prisoners paused, watching carefully, victory suddenly real. Kazrak glared defiantly, snarling, "Finish me, human. Prove your dominance." Elena shook her head slowly, calm authority clear. Dominance isn't my goal. Justice matters more. You'll answer publicly for your actions. Respect blossomed visibly among prisoners witnessing her mercy. Elena turned toward the inmates, voice powerful yet gentle. The prison belongs to us now, not to torment, but to rebuild. Our unity won this day. Cheers erupted passionately, echoes reverberating through corridors long dominated by silence. Elena felt deep pride, humbled by their trust. Varric approached quietly, admiration clear in his voice. You accomplished what we thought impossible. Together, Elena corrected softly, sincerity genuine. No victory belongs to one alone. As prisoners embraced newfound freedom, Elena organized swiftly, preparing communications equipment urgently. Broadcasting immediately across countless frequencies, her voice projected strongly, clearly to distant worlds. Today, oppression fell at Zephyr 9. Kazrak imprisoned innocents, humans and aliens alike, for political gain. No more. We stand free, proof unity defeats injustice. Let all corrupt leaders beware, your cruelty ends now. Freedom and dignity belong to everyone, always. The transmission ended sharply, leaving silence ringing profoundly. Elena inhaled slowly, exhausted but profoundly satisfied. Across the prison, prisoners gathered quietly, expressions filled with gratitude and profound respect. Rena approached cautiously, eyes shining emotionally. You restored our hope, Elena. Emotion thickened Elena's voice warmly. No, Rena. I simply reminded you of strength you already had. Never forget this victory belonged to all of us. Gorith stepped close, massive presence now comforting, not threatening. You showed us strength rooted in compassion, not violence. For that, humans have my respect. Friendship, Elena corrected gently. Respect flows both ways. Varric nodded solemnly, thoughtful admiration evident. What happens next? Elena's eyes shone, determination clear. Kazrak answered to us. Others across galaxies suffer quietly. Now we find them. Together, we defend those who can't defend themselves. Quiet applause rippled softly, affirming silent agreement. Prisoners now turned allies pledged silently, united under a single, noble cause. Later, Elena stood alone briefly, reflecting deeply on everything faced. Through struggle, unity emerged stronger. Oppression fell not by violence alone, but by compassionate leadership. A soft smile warmed her expression thoughtfully, eyes tracing distant stars visible through narrow windows. Freedom belonged not just to Zephyr 9 now, but everywhere oppressed beings yearned silently for liberation. Elena knew deeply, courage rooted in compassion held power greater than brutality. Hope would ignite others, just as it had here. For her, that alone defined true victory. Zephyr 9's corridors bustled with newfound purpose, lit now by gentle amber lights instead of oppressive cold blues. Prisoners, humans and aliens alike, worked diligently, dismantling the cruel architecture of their past. Elena observed thoughtfully, appreciating the quiet determination radiating from every face. Varric approached gently, interrupting her reflection with respectful urgency. A ship approaches, Federation design. Kazrak must have summoned reinforcements before falling. Elena tensed briefly, yet her voice remained calm. Open communications. Let's greet them openly. Varric hesitated cautiously. Are you certain? They might consider us rebels. Truth is our strongest ally, Elena assured confidently. They must see who we really are. Within moments, Elena stood facing a shimmering hologram. Admiral Kayla Reed, a decorated Federation officer renowned across human colonies, appeared sharply, eyes unreadable. Captain Elena Pierce, Kayla greeted formally, eyes studying Elena intently. Zephyr 9 sent distress signals claiming prisoner riots. Explain yourself immediately. Elena spoke clearly, each word chosen deliberately. Not riots, Admiral, liberation. Kazrak wrongly imprisoned humans and others for political gain. We exposed him. Kayla's eyebrows arched skeptically. Serious accusations, Captain. Can you substantiate them? Without hesitation, Elena transmitted records and witness testimonies meticulously gathered. Silence filled 10 seconds before Kayla spoke again, expression softening gradually. Impressive work, Captain Pierce. Federation intelligence long suspected Kazrak's corruption but lacked proof. You've succeeded where we failed. Varric smiled discreetly nearby, quietly proud. Elena acknowledged the Admiral with careful diplomacy. Justice motivated us. Now we seek Federation support openly. Kayla nodded thoughtfully. Then prepare your facility. A delegation will verify your claims personally. The transmission ended swiftly, leaving Elena with fresh challenges. Varric spoke carefully, unease underlying his tone. Do you trust her? Kayla Reed has integrity, Elena responded thoughtfully. But caution remains necessary. Hours later, Federation shuttles docked cautiously, soldiers vigilant, weapons lowered but ready. Elena greeted them calmly, offering unrestricted access to prisoners, staff, and documentation. Admiral Reed arrived personally, precise footsteps echoing authority. You demonstrate remarkable trust, Kayla noted respectfully. Kazrak described you differently. Of course he did, Elena said calmly, eyes steady. Oppressors often see victims as threats. Kayla paused momentarily, absorbing Elena's quiet wisdom. Show me everything. Walking carefully through Zephyr 9, Kayla observed prisoners working diligently, their dignity visibly restored. Gorath approached respectfully, bowing slightly toward Elena before facing Kayla directly. Captain Pierce, restore our freedom without bloodshed, he stated firmly, sincerity unmistakable. Your Federation should recognize courage when displayed. Kayla observed Gorath thoughtfully, softened by authenticity. Noted. The Admiral continued inspecting thoroughly, interviewing prisoners privately, listening intently. Each account reinforced Elena's claims indisputably. When Kayla finally faced Elena again, respect replaced skepticism. You transformed Zephyr 9, she admitted genuinely. Federation oversight was blind to this injustice. We owe you gratitude. Your recognition helps, Admiral, Elena replied modestly. Yet injustice extends beyond this prison. Many suffer similarly. Kayla sighed thoughtfully, contemplating broader implications. Changing systemic corruption requires courage. Are you prepared to confront Federation politics openly? Elena answered decisively. Yes, but we cannot fight injustice alone. Allies within the Federation matter. Kayla's expression shifted subtly, determination clear. Then I stand with you openly. Let's address Federation leaders together. Your story deserves hearing. Gratitude warmed Elena's voice sincerely. Thank you, Admiral. Over ensuing days, Zephyr 9 became a beacon, drawing political and media attention Federation-wide. Elena patiently retold prisoner stories, Kazrak's abuses, and Unity overcoming oppression repeatedly, each interview steadily shifting perceptions across colonies. Finally, Federation Council summoned Elena personally, demanding direct testimony. Entering Federation's grand auditorium, she saw countless alien and human faces watching expectantly. Counselor Voss, influential and stern, questioned skeptically. Captain Pierce, how can Zephyr 9's prisoners guarantee loyalty and order without oversight? Elena spoke strongly yet calmly. Because freedom fosters loyalty naturally, counselor. Oppression only breeds resentment. Voss frowned dismissively. Idealistic, perhaps. Yet reality differs. A voice interrupted suddenly, Admiral Kayla Reed standing firmly. Reality at Zephyr 9 proves otherwise. I saw Captain Pierce inspire unity firsthand. Trust earned genuinely ensures loyalty. Council murmurs rippled softly. Kayla's public support resonated powerfully. Elena's heart lifted cautiously, sensing momentum shifting gradually. Councilor Merak, respected widely, spoke thoughtfully. Captain Pierce showed resilience and compassion rarely seen. Perhaps it's time Federation leadership reconsidered its approach toward imprisonment and justice. Applause broke spontaneously, gentle yet resonating meaningfully. Elena exhaled subtly, hope igniting quietly. Afterward, outside council chambers, Kayla approached privately, admiration visibly genuine. You've started a movement, Elena, Kayla said warmly. Change happens slowly, but you ignited something powerful today. Elena smiled humbly. Because someone believed. Exactly, Kayla agreed. Belief creates possibilities previously unimagined. Keep fighting. Returning to Zephyr 9, Elena found prisoners waiting eagerly, expressions anxious yet hopeful. Varric stepped forward quietly. What happened? Elena's smile filled with cautious optimism. Federation politics shifted slightly today. Justice won small victories. Cheers erupted joyfully, echoing warmly through corridors now genuinely free. Later, Elena stood thoughtfully, watching stars silently through wide station windows, reflecting deeply. Goratha's powerful presence appeared beside her respectfully. What's next, Elena? She spoke slowly, thoughtfully. We help others still imprisoned unjustly, no matter distance or difficulty. Federation backing gives us resources now. Gorath nodded resolutely. Wherever you lead, we follow. Varric joined quietly, agreeing sincerely. You united prisoners across differences peacefully. That message alone inspires galaxies. Elena inhaled deeply, gratitude and responsibility merging emotionally within her heart. Then let's build something lasting, together. Later, beneath Zephyr 9's now comforting amber lights, Elena sat quietly reflecting. Victory achieved today marked merely the beginning. Battles remained ahead inevitably, but strength rooted in compassion, unity forged honestly, made anything possible. She knew deeply Zephyr 9's echo would inspire distant hearts yearning silently for freedom everywhere, forever reminding galaxies justice won peacefully offered deepest hope imaginable.